Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do a bit of a walk along International Drive in Orlando. We're actually going to start the journey from our hotel. We're actually staying in one of these hotels around here. There's multiple different hotels in this little complex. They're all under the label of the Orlando Convention Center, but they're actually pretty good hotels to come and stay in if you're here on holiday, because they're quite close to various bars and restaurants that are along International Drive. So we're going to take a walk up there now and show you some of the things that's along International Drive. Right, we've just walked up here about 30 seconds. You can still see the hotels in the background there. And then the first restaurant we come across is Bahama Breeze, which is a kind of Caribbean style restaurant. But they sell typical kind of American food, burgers, chicken, quite a lot of fish dishes if you like fish dishes. And it's often they have music in there, like Caribbean music, and it's got quite a nice vibe to it, this restaurant. Right, so we're just going to walk up here. We're just going to turn left for a bit. We're just going to walk down there for a bit, and then turn around and walk back up again. There's another restaurant here on your left, which is TGI Fridays. I'm not sure that this TGI Fridays is actually that popular. I've never seen anyone in it. It doesn't seem that as popular a restaurant as perhaps it is in England. Right, and then next to TGI Fridays, you've got Subway. So if you don't want to eat in a restaurant, it's quite convenient to do that. And then next to Subway, you've got a Domino's. So you pretty much got everything along this little strip here, like less than a minute's walk from your hotel. And then a little bit further on here, you've actually got a Walgreens. It's actually really useful. It's like well, they call it a pharmacy, but it's pretty much got everything in there. The closest thing I could probably compare it to might be like a Tesco Metro. It's actually really useful to have this near to the hotel, because they've got in there like milk and food and sweets and medicines and toiletries. It's a useful shop, and it's fairly reasonable priced. Right, the next bar restaurant that we've got coming up here is Miller's Ale House. We've actually got loads of these around the Orlando area. It's a kind of classic kind of American sports bar. They've got a million TV screens in there. They're just selling like burgers and chicken and things like that. And it's probably the kind of best value place. It's relatively cheap in there compared to quite a lot of the other restaurants that are down this way. Yeah, and opposite the Ale House, you've actually got this Orlando helicopter tours. So every couple of minutes, you'll see just a helicopter just fly over you, above you here. Yeah, you can obviously go over there, rent a helicopter, and I think it flies you all over Disney and Universal and downtown Orlando, I think. I've never actually done it myself. Right, so we're now kind of walking back past the Walgreens. I'm going to head down towards the Wheel, the Orlando Wheel. Just on the opposite side of the road though, there is this thing over there which is quite kind of hidden. I think it's called like Dave and Buster's. It's basically a load of arcade machines and games, and there's a huge bar and restaurant in there. Me personally, it hurts my head when I go in there, but I think the kids probably love it. Right, this next place along here is called How to the Moon, which is like a piano bar. It says it's open 7 nights a week. Again, it's a bit like TGI Fridays. I've never seen anyone in there. I almost look at it and think it's closed, but it is open. But it just, maybe it comes alive a lot later, but I've never seen anyone in there. Next up is obviously an American classic, which is Hooters. Loads of TV screens in there. You can get drinks in there. One thing I would say with Hooters is the food isn't very good. I don't think the quality of food in there is not particularly high. I don't think that's why people go in there. Next restaurant coming up on the right is Senor Frog's, which is a Mexican food restaurant. It's actually pretty cool in there. They've got some cool looking seats, and it's kind of decked out pretty nicely. So something a little bit different. Then finally on the end here, you've got a Denny's. Denny's in America gets quite a bad rap for not being particularly high quality food. I personally haven't been in one for years, so I don't really know what it's like now, but it kind of reminds me, if you're from England, it reminds me of a Wimpy, if you're as old as what I am. They serve burgers on plates, and but it's kind of semi-fast food. Next up here, there is a liquor store. What you'll find in America is that liquor is not just out in the open. So if you go into a supermarket, it's in a separate area of the supermarket. If you want to buy it, you don't generally get it in smaller shops, and you have to come to an actual specialised shop to get alcohol. Next here in this restaurant, this is the Boston Lobster Feast. It's all you can eat lobster. I don't eat lobster, so I've not been in there, but it does get quite busy, this place, and everyone comes down there to get a picture of themselves with this lobster car that they've had for years. Even the number plate is lobster. So just take a look at that from the front. It's a pretty bonkers car, to be honest. All right, next one along is called Cafe 2 to Tango. This does actually get quite popular. They had a big party here last night. Lots of people turned up. I've not been in there myself, but it seems to get quite busy. Right, next up along here is the Pirates Cove Adventure Golf. It's quite a good little crazy golf course. They've actually got two courses in there. One which they say is more for beginners and one for advanced, but honestly the advanced one is not that hard. If I was going to pay the money to do it, I would always do the advanced one because it will take you a bit longer and you'll get better value for money out of it. It's never really gets massively busy, so you're not in huge queues with people, but it's something quite nice to do in the evening. Where I find it quite useful is it's quite a good thing to do on the first night you get here, because if you've come in from the UK, you're jet lagged, you're trying to stay awake, you're trying not to go to bed, and it's a good thing to come and do just to keep the kids or yourselves entertained for an hour, just to keep you awake for that little bit longer. Next up, we've come to Orlando's Icon Park. There's quite a few things in here. There's this kind of swing thing. There is the Orlando wheel. There's also this kind of like huge swing thing over here. Over here, there's another live music place called the Tin Roof, which is quite good. There's actually a guy over here playing right now. Cool. On the left over here is Buffalo Wild Wings. If you like wings, it's really good in here. And then the final restaurant at the end of the Icon Park is the Outback Steakhouse. Australian food, lots of steaks, burgers, chicken. And before we go back into the park and show you the rest of it, the Icon Park, just at the other end here is this giant swing thing. It's currently being loaded up, but I think we showed it to you earlier when it just goes all the way up there, swinging around, around, around. Right, again, it's super noisy here, but they've got a Gordon Ramsay fish and chips here. I'm guessing it's trying to be like a traditional fish and chip place, but I looked at the menu and I can tell you now, it's not a traditional fish and chip place. There's no battered sausages, there's no mushy peas. It's just another American restaurant. Right, one thing that people probably don't realise is inside, this is where you get the tickets for the wheel. It's actually really useful. The restrooms are in here as well. But it's also got, in this building, Madame Tussauds and a Sea Life Centre. So I think if you've got one of those Merlin passes, Merlin Global passes, you can probably come in here and use all this for free. So yeah, there's Madame Tussauds, which is actually shut. A few more arcades, and then there's some food places in here. We actually came down here and had a look the other day just to see if we could get ourselves an ice cream. It's really expensive in here. And then over on the far side, Sea Life Centre. I've mostly used this just to come in here and use the restrooms, to be honest. That's all I find it useful for. I'm not sure how good the Sea Life in Madame Tussauds is, and the food is generally quite expensive in here. Like I said, it's got a nice vibe to it. Considering it's only a sort of 10-minute walk from most hotels, it's quite nice to just come up here when you've eaten your dinner, just go for a bit of a walk around, have a couple of drinks, listen to some live music before you go back to bed. What I will say is, after you spent all day at the parks, you're pretty knackered, so you don't tend to have really, really late nights when you come here. Right, just come out the other side of the Icon Park, and what I'd say, once you sort of come out the other side of that, the vibe just changes a little bit. It's not quite as nice as what it is the other side. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to walk down to the nearest McDonald's, if McDonald's interests you. We're going to go down to it. It's about another sort of 5 minutes down here, and then once we've got to McDonald's, we'll show you that, and then we'll come back down again. What I'll say of this McDonald's, when I talk about that Dave and Buster's hurting your head, this McDonald's is the most mental McDonald's I've ever been in. They even sell pizza, and you walk in there and it's just absolute chaos. It's bedlam from the whole time you're in there, and you just want to get in there, get what you need, and get back out again. On the left here is one of these sort of Best Western. It looks like one of those sort of classic motels that you see on the movies. I have to say, it doesn't look the best. Hopefully you're not staying there, and you can tell that it's not that popular because the car park is empty. Next up here on the left, you got this Mango's Tropical Cafe place. It's another place which is absolutely massive, but I've hardly seen anyone in it. I'm amazed that some of these places manage to stay in business because it never looks that busy. And then this big kind of like pink building next to it is actually a car park, which I can't imagine anyone ever actually goes in it, because there's just car parks all the way along it and they're all free, so you can park all the way along International Drive in one of these places. I can't see that massive car park is ever really needed. Yeah, just to give you an idea of the geography, if you keep walking along here for about another 45-50 minutes, you get to Universal Studios. Probably not somewhere you'd want to walk to because it's just too hot, but if you want to see a video on that, I'll put a link to it here. I did a review of the whole Universal resort, so I'll put a link to that here. I just noticed there on the left, there's a Harley Davidson outlet store, which, if you like Harley Davidsons, you might like to go in there. It looks like they're selling lots of like kind of t-shirts, hats and Harley Davidson stuff. Right, this is where it just starts to get a little bit hectic. We've got to cross over this intersection here. It's quite a large intersection, so you basically have to walk across, I think, probably 8 lanes of traffic just to get to this McDonald's. Take your life into your own hands a bit here, but there is traffic lights, and you press the button and you walk across, but it's just a little bit hectic. And as you see, like, if you look at these stores here, this is what I'm talking about, where it just feels not quite as nice as what it did at the other end of town when where the hotel was. So yeah, we've got to walk across. Let me check. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's actually 5 lanes of traffic on this one half. I don't know how many there is on the other half, but it's probably another 3. So yeah, 8 lanes of traffic. Yeah, and you wait here, and then you've got the hand thing, which means stop, and then in a minute it's going to show a sign saying walk, and then you haven't got very long to walk over there. One thing to look out for is in America, you can actually, the cars, if the traffic light is red, they can still move even though it's red. So these cars here that are coming round here on the right, they can actually start to come out when you're walking. So just got to be a bit careful. So even though it says walk, you still got to look and make sure that there's no cars coming out. Yeah, and don't get worried if you ain't been able to cross. It takes a long time for you to get your opportunity to cross. There we go. See what I mean? These cars just pulling out. So all of these cars in this lane here are actually can go now if there's no people. Look, look at it. I mean, look, it's just absolutely mental. Look, pizzas in McDonald's. I've never been in a McDonald's before where you can buy a pizza. What's quite annoying is they've got these automated things. Most of them are shut. What really drives me mad is that people get to those machines and they don't know what they want. And I think most people go to McDonald's and they know what they want. But people seem to go in there and they spend the whole time just like browsing on the thing. Drives me mad. One of the things you'll notice out in America is, compared to England, they still use plastic everything. Plastic straws, plastic cups, plastic everything. If you're ever wondering if you're really making a difference in the UK, I suspect that we're not, because there's a McDonald's on every street and everyone is using plastic everything. So walking back down towards the hotel now, the right hand side there's a Five Guys, there's a gift shop. There's quite a lot of these escape games down here. It's the third one I've seen just on this little strip. There's also quite a lot of these smoke shops down here, these sort of vape smoke shops. Yeah, just on that, what I've noticed this time when I've come to Orlando is every now and again I'll see someone smoking marijuana or smell marijuana. I actually saw a guy with his, just a normal guy, just with his couple of kids waiting to get in his car, and you could really smell the drugs. And I'm not entirely sure if it's legal. I know it's legal in California, but I didn't think it was legal in Florida, so I'm not 100% sure, but something, just something that I've noticed this time that I haven't seen before. So this next hotel on the right here is the Sonesta ES Suites, and you actually see this, I think, in quite a lot of British brochures. So you're probably going to get a lot of Brits stay there. It's kind of a bit. I've actually stayed there before myself, and it's got a bit of a strange feel to it. It's quite nice. The rooms are quite nice, but it's like the room doors are on the outside. They're not, you've just got lots and lots of corridors, and it's not like a typical hotel where the corridors are enclosed. Corridors are all open. It's kind of like, it's got that kind of weird sort of motel feel about it, but also it's actually quite nice. So, I mean, it's not high end, but it's okay, and it's in a good location. Right, also along here, there's a quite a large gift shop, Bargain World. It's just another one of those shops that just sells all the kind of Disney stuff. I suppose one thing you will find is it'll be a lot cheaper in these shops than actually buying it at the official Universal and Disney shops. Next up here on the right hand side, we've got the Avanti Resort. This is one that you do quite often see come up on the package holidays. It's another one of those kind of motel feel places. Tends more on the kind of lower end. Not sure how good that one is. Yeah, what you'll notice also along this strip now as well, you can hire these scooters. You just download the app, it's Newt, and you can scoot along. They're actually quite good when it's like really hot, just to jump on one of these and scoot along these paths. These paths are quite wide, and it's completely legal to do it, so it's fine. The only thing is you do need to be over 18 to be to use these. Just on these kind of hotels along here, the Avanti and the Sonesta and things. They're okay, but actually the ones that we're staying in that are just back from there, I find that they're a bit better. They offer a pretty good breakfast in the morning, the rooms are pretty spacious, and they're probably similar price to these ones here. And they're just a little bit more out of the way and just a little bit more, a bit quieter, and in my view, a bit nicer. They haven't got this motel feel to them where the doors out, where your hotel room door opens straight out onto the street or straight out onto a balcony. All right, next up is this Embassy Suites. I'll be honest, I've never been in the Embassy Suites before. If I had to guess, I would say it's probably quite 80s inside, but that would just be, it might be lovely, but yeah, that would be my, my guess. So this next restaurant on the right here is actually Olive Garden, which is an Italian restaurant. Now I've actually spent a lot of time in America, I've lived in America, and I've never actually been here before, and tonight, for the first time, we went there for the first time, and it's actually pretty nice. What I found with it is it's actually, rather than your normal kind of burger and chips and things like that, it's actually it feels like a slightly higher quality food. You get a nice kind of starter, a soup, you get salad included within the price of your meal, and it's got nice pasta dishes, nice Italian dishes, and it's pretty nice. So only go there if you're super hungry. If you've had a massive lunch or you've eaten late, probably not a good idea to go to that restaurant, because you get big portions in there and it's quite rich food, and they give you the starter included in your meal. So yeah, go there hungry. Right, yeah, so I know I said this place hurts my head, but I will just quickly show you this Dave & Buster's. We'll just spend a quick 5 minutes, and the helicopter's about to take off actually. We were talking about earlier. They just come across these trees here, they just seem incredibly low. One thing you'll find here in Orlando in this area, there's always something going on. You can just, there's the helicopters taking off, there's people shooting up on things, it's got quite a lively atmosphere to it. This place though, this place hurts my head. Well, I'm not sure how much you're going to be able to hear in here or how much you're going to be able to see. It's quite dark and it's extremely loud, so hopefully you can still hear me. I won't talk too much in here, we'll just walk around and walk back out again. It's got so many TV screens in here, it's just mental. It's actually really busy. It's got a huge restaurant bar here on the right. And then just loads of these machines. My guess is that parents come in here, they sit there and drink, give their kids a load of money, and they go off and play. It's insanely loud. Right, come out of there and that's enough of that. I tell you, it reminds me of a Haven holiday park where they've got the arcades and it's just noise, and it's a ticket-based system, so you just get loads and loads of these tickets, and then you can go back and pick up your prize. One of the other things I've noticed with this kind of YouTube malarkey, at the moment I'm a nobody, I've got no views, no subscribers, no nothing, and yet I walk around with this little mic on and my little camera guy here following me, and people start to look at you like, who's that guy? What's he doing? Yeah, I'm just a random nobody. Nice to meet you. Right, that's it then. We've walked all the way down International Drive. We've walked past the Orlando Icon Park, showing you some of the restaurants, taking you all the way down to McDonald's, walk back again. As I said before, these hotels that are out the back here, they're in a really great location for International Drive. They're actually only a 5-minute drive to Universal Studios. They're about a 5-minute drive to SeaWorld and Aquatica. and they are about a 20-minute drive to Disney, Disney Springs, and then obviously the rest of Disney is beyond that. You've probably got half an hour to get to Magic Kingdom and the rest of the Disney parks. So it's a pretty good location. It's reasonably priced. It's close to lots of stuff, and you can walk to stuff, which is quite nice for British people. You just park your car, leave it in the hotel, and just walk up there. And as I said, there's always stuff going on. Another helicopter's on its way out. But that ends the video. Thanks for listening, and see you soon.